Go, here we go. Everybody in the house like, whoa, oh, oh. And we're live. And for some reason my Skype is open. And I don't want that. Wouldn't want that. Doing some table drumming. Fun for the whole family. Do I have both my score sheets? I do. We're just going to chill out, relax, wait for some viewers, as per usual. So if you're here, thank you for coming. Enjoy the show. We're going to chill out for 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes, and then we'll get started with some game analysis, how to analyze our games. My camera's doing some wonky light dark stuff. I think it's because of this window in the background that's very light. Don't have any drapes, sadly. I should put some drapes up for streaming. That'd probably be good. The other thing that I've been doing that's been pretty cool is I've been looking over these endgame positions that Ali has in the study. So if you're interested in some endgame positions, Ali has some great stuff in a great study there. So check that out for shizzle. Hello, Archon. How you doing? Nice to see you, as always. Of course, Archon. It is always my pleasure, and it's sort of nice because I have 2 games here of mine that I haven't analyzed, and I was gonna analyze them anyway. So might as well do it on stream, right? Welcome, welcome, one and all. It's Christmas all over again. Oh, ho, ho, I'm Santa. Yeah, that's a good point. Archon's talking about relying on the computer for game analysis. And sometimes I fall to temptation as well, but it takes it really takes some self-control, because it is so easy to be like, oh, I want to know like the truth about what happened and where I went wrong. But I think it's less valuable than trying to work it out yourself. I mean, you'll still learn something, but you don't get to play with a computer. So you should at least try not to analyze with the computer at first. We'll wait 2 more minutes, and then we'll get going. Get going. Any Dota fans? Anyone watching the International? Bleed Blue, EG got eliminated. Ouch. Truth hurts. Or Singfield Cup. Oh, well, everyone's probably watching the Singfield Cup. It is a chess stream. How are my frames doing? No dropped frames. That's what I like to see. All right, we've waited long enough. If anyone else is coming, well, they should hurry up. So today I'm going to be going over a couple of my games that I played over the board. And I have 1 win and 1 loss. And the reason I brought a win and a loss, well, I could say it's for instructional purposes, but it's because my last 2 games I won 1 and I lost 1. But I think it's actually sort of helpful because it shows that we can learn from our wins and we can learn from our losses. And so I think that's useful. Here are some overall themes from my beliefs about game analysis. First of all, you don't touch the computer until the end. And what you use the computer for is use the computer to check your analysis and make sure your analysis is accurate. And the computer can reveal where your analysis is inaccurate. And you can think about that and say, like, why was my analysis inaccurate? What did I miss? And that's another learning moment there that the computer can reveal to you. What did you miss in your analysis? And why did you get your analysis wrong? So that's something the computer can reveal it to you, but it can't reveal that to you unless you do the analysis without the computer first. So no computer analysis until the end. That's where you check all your analysis and then you go through and see, why did I miss what I miss? Second thing that I like to do with my analysis is I like to break it down into takeaways. So I try to have anywhere between 1 to 3 takeaways from a game, which are just things that I think I could have done better or could have improved on. So for example, I played my game in Lone Wolf last night versus Emanate, and I lost. And I think I had like 2 main takeaways from that game. And the first takeaway was always check all of your opponent's forcing moves. Because the reason I lost that game was I had 3, oh, that's not how arrows work. I had 3 pieces covering F2 like this, and he had 3 pieces attacking F2. It was like Queen, Bishop, Knight, and Queen, Rook, Rook. So I had F2 covered in my head. I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about F2. But if I had actually analyzed the capture on F2, I would have seen that it's working for him. And it wasn't like a difficult tactic to find. It was just that I didn't even consider him taking on F2 because I was like, it's covered. I have 3 pieces there, he has 3 pieces there, it's defended, he can't take it. But if I had actually looked at the variation, I would have seen very quickly that that's not true, and I needed to protect F2 or in some way, or deny that tactic. So my main takeaway from my game with Emanate is always check your opponent's forcing moves, even if you think you have it covered, because it was clearly working. So that was my main takeaway from that game. The other takeaway from the game was make sure you're evaluating the position as a whole. Because I shattered his pawns, his kingside pawns, by taking on f6, but he had compensation. So I think I was overestimating my position and not really accounting for my opponent's compensation. And my third takeaway from that game was review the Semi-Slav main lines, because I never get main lines, so I didn't know it very well. And so that's just an opening thing. I needed to look over the opening and make sure I knew what I was doing. And maybe consider playing an earlier b3. Those were my takeaways. And those are just things that I can do in my next games. And things that I can remember for my next games. And I like having takeaways as like statements of action, something I can actually do in my next game. So that's what I'm looking for when I'm trying to come up with takeaways from the game. The other thing that's really important about game analysis is you have to approach your game analysis with an open mind. Because if you come in with preconceived notions about what were good moves and what were mistakes and what were blunders, then your analysis might just be trying to prove your preconceived notions. You're gonna analyze lines where the move you thought was a mistake, and you're gonna analyze lines where the move you thought you played something brilliant, it was brilliant. But that isn't necessarily like the truth of the position. So you have to keep an open mind and make sure you're really being honest with yourself. Maybe the brilliant move you played wasn't brilliant and your opponent just didn't refute it. I'd also like to show you guys something that I do normally. I won't be doing it today just because I'm streaming and that makes that difficult. This is my notebook. Let's see if it's in front of me. This is my notebook. This is my chess notebook. And this is where I write down all my game analysis. That's correct. I write it on paper. I write down every move I played, every variation I consider, and every conclusion I draw from the game. And if you want to see, there's legit variations here. Like, those are variations from a game I played. So that's how I do my game analysis. I write it all down in a legitimate hard paper notebook. I don't do it online. And I play all the moves out over my physical chessboard that I have set up. Now, I won't be doing this today because I'm streaming, and so it's hard to stream a notebook. So I'm going to be doing it on Lichess. But I really do recommend writing everything in a notebook. And the reason is, you do not forget. If you spent 2 hours writing out your game and all your analysis and all the variations and all your conclusions from the game, you're not going to forget very easily your conclusions from that game because you spent 2 hours writing it down. So I really, really like this notebook. Notice that I've been through most of the notebook. That's game analysis. That many pages of game analysis. So, and that's part of the reason I've improved so much. Like, in August of last year, I think I was 1700 USCF. Now I'm over 2000. And this plays a big role in that. So analyze your games. It's really good for you. We're going to be doing 2 games today. And I'll do them in the order I played them. I have my score sheets here. That's the wrong game. Here we go. So this is my score sheet. And this is the game we're going to be looking over. So in this game, I had black. This was round 6 of a tournament. I was on 3 of 5. So I had been having a decent tournament. And I was playing someone who was much lower rated than me. I'm rated around 20 and change. My opponent was 16 and change, so about 400 points lower. And we got something, we got a French Tarrasch. I was also slightly late to this game. I was 5 minutes late, so I had 5 minutes less. But because it was a 90-minute game, that wasn't too crazy. So this is the French Tarrasch. There are 2 moves here. You can go c5 or knight f6. This is the open Tarrasch. This is the closed Tarrasch. I play the closed Tarrasch. I like these positions. But this seems to be a little bit unpopular at the highest level. So maybe I should learn the open Tarrasch. Yes, I was black here. This game was Tripodi, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Bellows. So here I am with the black pieces playing the closed Tarrasch. And my opponent surprised me with this move, bishop d3. The main line here is, of course, e5, but bishop d3 is certainly playable. And so here, I actually thought for probably about 3 or 4 minutes. And this is the first turning point in the game. So the move I played was c5, which should transpose into the main line, which it did. It transposed into the main line. But there's a very real option here of taking and playing this position. Now here, probably takes. And this position is, it's a position. Black probably goes, I don't know, I'm going to use the opening book to help me out here because I don't know this position very well. So let's see if this comes up in the opening book. Not very often. Not very often. It seems like c5 is actually the main move back here, and the taking is not super great for black. This doesn't surprise me. I've played this sort of position before. You can play c6 probably. You can probably also develop this knight to d7 with the idea of going to f6 and winning a tempo. And this seems like a reasonable position, but it was a position I was unfamiliar with. Playing unfamiliar positions that are slightly better computer evaluated, that's not necessarily a good idea. It can be better to just play something you know, even if it's like objectively a tiny bit worse. So I think c5 here is a good decision for me, because I know what I'm going to get here. Here, white can take, but after takes, white probably has very little here on takes. I don't believe in this for white. I can take here and play an IQP. I can even take with the knight if I want. That seems fine and reasonable. But I think I would take here, play the IQP and say that this knight is terribly placed. And I have a quick c4 coming if you don't take here. So I like this position for white. Also c4 even further inconveniences this knight. So I think this is not playable, and I think not playable is very strong. I think this is fine for black. And if you take, black has great compensation for the IQP, and I would be happy to play this as black. So I think my opponent did a reasonable thing and transposed to the main line. And this is mainline Tarrasch. c3, knight c6. And here my opponent played something a little bit interesting, knight df3. The main move is knight e2. And the thing about knight df3 is I didn't see anything wrong with it. Because on, say, queen b6, white can go knight e2, and he has the normal setup with the knights. So I wasn't sure that there was anything distinctly wrong with this, knight df3. I wonder, this is an important point, and it's something you need to analyze here. My opponent played something slightly strange, which makes me, it makes me want to punish the move order, because this is not the mainline move order, but I think there's nothing wrong with the move played. The only thing I can think of is this king is a little bit exposed in the center. So I checked the opening, what's it called? Opening Explorer. And this move queen a5 is interesting. Trying to take and exploit a pin here. And this is probably the attempt to exploit this move order, this precise move order. And this was not something I considered in the game. But this is a very interesting move, because if you go knight e2 takes, this is actually probably falling apart for the white player. The point being on, say, this knight takes, I'll go knight e5. And I believe I'm much better here. So that means that after queen a5, it's unclear exactly what white should do. Maybe bishop d2 is reasonable. Or even queen d2. Bishop d2, and then takes. Maybe I shouldn't take, actually, after bishop d2, because there will be a discovered attack. But I can take, and on takes go queen b6. And this looks playable. However, I'm not sure I'm really threatening to take here. Maybe I am, but maybe I'm not. That's always dangerous. So this is always very dangerous to take on b2. I currently have a double threat. Bishop c3 is a conservative try from white. White can just play bishop c3 and say, I've got everything covered. Or white can be a little bit more ambitious and play knight e2 and sacrifice this pawn. And say, this queen's gone far away from home. You're not really developed. You can't go pawn hunting. Which might be true. This might be true. Here white can castle, I would say. On rook b1, let's just get castled as white. In this position, I would classify as double-edged. White has a strong center. White is fully developed. Black is really lagging in development, but it is a pawn. Here, I think I would honestly rather play the white side. Maybe that's just me, but you know, I like my pawns, but I also like having my pieces developed. So I'm not totally sure about this position for the black side. White's looking to go something along the lines of knight somewhere, and then go f4, f5. And I think white has a good position here. So I would take white here. I would not enter this variation. So queen a5 is very interesting, but perhaps I sort of like what I did, which is just sticking with what I know, sticking with my main line. So I took takes, and then f6, which is the main line of the Trosh. Oh, I've been forgetting to put my text evaluations in. So I should put my text evaluations in. So up here, this was the IQP. I said this was fine for black. I thought this was playable, but cramped for black. And I'm going to add on that I don't like these positions. Here, after queen a5, the pawn grab looks very dangerous for black. I would much rather have the white pieces in this position. White has the plan of either putting the rooks on the open lines or playing for a quick f4, f5. So cd4, cd4, f6. And here I will say I am transposing to the main line, which I am very familiar with. Here my opponent took. A lot of times people will play f4 here, but because of my opponent's slightly strange move order, the option of f4 is not available. So taking is really the only reasonable move here. And knight takes. And here we saw the move knight e2, I think. Let me check my score sheet. Knight e2 is played. I'm not going to comment much on this because this is all I know what he means by the Caro-Kann, because in the advanced Caro-Kann, you can get a French-like structure after this. This is a thing, but this plays differently. It has a French structure, but white usually takes here, and the play is quite different. And white goes for a quick b4, c4. I'm not commenting much on this position because this is total main line. Here, my opponent castled. I should note that white can't really get away with this, which would be a nice, for white, because white really wants to trade these pieces. That's in his best interest. But this doesn't quite work because of this check. And this can be very annoying. For example, queen d2 takes. You actually have to take with the king. If you take with the knight, then takes, takes, takes. So this is an important line to know if white tries to challenge the bishop before castling. You have to know this line. Takes, takes, or sorry, king takes, forced. And then here, we have to take. And then we castle. And our next move is knight e4. And this position is pretty good for, excuse me, for white. For black, sorry. We're trying to play against this hanging knight. I think going knight g5 is incorrect, if I remember correctly. Yeah, knight g5, you're hanging this, actually. But we don't take it. We go knight e5, I think. Yeah, this is it. And then on probably knight takes, rook f4, and we have a good position here. So that's what happens if white tries to interpose the bishop. He can't do that. So he correctly castled. And here, now it's important. White really is threatening to play this, so main line is queen c7. Here I had spent almost no time off my clock because this is a position I've had probably 5 times over the board. This is just the tabia of the Tarrasch. And now my opponent played the main move, which is bishop g5. And his idea is to trade these dark square bishops. As I've said, that's very advantageous. Castles is the more main move. Knight c3, not necessarily the main move here. A lot of times, I believe, queen c2 is played, h6, bishop h4, knight h5, and this is a position. And the main line is very insane. So that's very playable, but my opponent chose not. He chose knight c3, and I played a6. And here he goes bishop h4. And this is a very important moment in the game. So my opponent has played bishop h4. They want to go bishop g3. But when your opponent is ready to go bishop g3, you almost always want to go knight h5. So let me ask the question. Is knight h5 a safe move? Is knight h5 playable in this position? Is a question that I have. And this is my first question to the chat. Is knight h5 playable? So everyone says knight h5 is not playable. But you'll be surprised to know that I played the move knight h5. Because if I don't play the move knight h5, white is better. White will be much better after the trade of bishops. So knight h5 is, I think, the only move. And my opponent said, "You can't do that. I know you can't do that." And he took. But this is what I call a disrespectful move from my opponent. This move is disrespectful. Because what he's saying to me is he's saying, you didn't see my threat. Or you didn't analyze the Greek gift. You're bad at chess. You didn't look at this move. And what he needed to be thinking was, okay, my opponent is allowing this sacrifice. What's going on? Why is that the case? So here's my point. I took it because if I play king h8, that's just ridiculous. Then knight g5, and what am I doing with my life? Hello. So I have to take it. It's an only move. And then my opponent played knight g5, and I have this curious move, king h6. Hey, my king can guard my knight. And here's the other curious thing about this. Usually in the Greek gift, this square is almost unplayable because there's some discovery along this diagonal. But this bishop has wandered over to the other side of the board. So all of a sudden, this bishop is not able to provide a discovery. My king is very safe on h6. So this sacrifice does not work. Instead, black needs to find something else to play. Something like, in this position, or not black, white needs to find something else to play. Something like rook e1 is probably a good move. And then, now you really are sort of threatening this, because in the same variation, if white could move again, this pawn would hang. So now I probably play like g6. And I can play moves like queen f7 and have a decent position. So this sacrifice is not working because of the move king h6. Tricky, 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 tricky. But my king is somewhat unsafe. White has vague compensation for the piece. So the game goes on. And here my opponent played g3. So let me ask the chat, what is the point of this move g3?
This seems ridiculous. Why is white playing the move g3? So the first thing it does is it prevents me from taking h2. That's a good point. It's just a bad move. I think g3 might be the best try in this position. No, stopping bishop takes h2 is an important point. If I'm allowed to play this, I'm basically winning. There's some other... He has another point, though. He does have a second point. This move is more nefarious than just stopping bishop take h2. He's not going to play f4, but it's related to this square. He doesn't want to play f4, but there's something about this square that's very important. Stops knight f4. I don't know, was I going to play knight f4? I guess I could have. So here, I'll showcase this point. What happens if white plays queen d2? Threatening every discovery. Black will play bishop f4. I don't think I'm going to play bishop f4 anymore. So white is setting up a threat. He's preparing to threaten this discovery by blocking the diagonal clogging point. So there's the sane move, and then there's the move I played. Can someone find me the sane move in this position? Because there's one sane move, and then there's some dumb stuff that I played. So who's got a sane move for me? Yes, my man, no clue. G6 is a very sane move. And it's almost certainly best. The point is, after queen d2, I just slip away. So here I think is a very poor decision from me. I did not play g6. And I had seen g6, I had looked at g6, and there's nothing wrong with g6. Knight a5? What are you going to do on queen d2? Oh, you're going to play knight c4? Knight a5, what are you going to do on queen c1? Haha! Gotcha. So, yeah, knight a5 is probably not a good idea. But I played a move. I played a very safe move. But I have a feeling that it's overly safe. Let's analyze what happens after g6. So I think g6, after queen d2, king g7, that might not even be best. It might, g6, it's possible to go rook e1. I would probably give this pawn. Actually, it's hard to defend. It's very difficult to defend this pawn a second time. I would like to play this rook over, but I can't. So rook e1. I would probably go bishop d7. And then takes, 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 rook e8. And this is a position. Black is probably winning here. Queen d2, king g7, rook e1, queen d7. Not allowing the tension to resolve. And from what I see, this just seems like black is up a piece. You have 2 pawns for the piece, but that shouldn't be enough. I think black is winning here. So if you see this winning position after g6, why would I play the move bishop d7? So this is the move I played, bishop d7. And I'm going to give this a double question mark. And I had a plan related to this move. I did. But just because I had a plan doesn't mean it was a good plan. So for bishop d7, I'm going to say too safe. In future games, I have to try and be objective rather than just playing extra safe. Because objectively, the position after g3, g6 is winning. If you go rook e1, takes, 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 check, and this is just winning. Like I see nothing for white here. What does white do? White can take this. No, he can't. He's going to hang everything. So this just looks bad for white. Take on e5, right there. Assuming you went d5. He has to trade first, though. He could take now, actually. You can. But I can do... I get my pawn back. Also, if you trade the second rook, you can trade the second rook. That's reasonable. But now my queen is going to end up being very active, I think. Something like queen here. And I think I'm going to grab here next. Rook g6. Oh yeah, I looked at that briefly in the game, I remember. It is worth a calculation. 96. Rook g6. Okay, you included this check, and then rook g6. Yeah, I didn't believe in this. After probably king f7. Maybe not king f7. Probably king h7. I was just kidding. And then king g8. And my point is I have my queen can block really whatever check you throw. Oh, no it can't. Because this will hang. So, let's go back. Rook g6 here. Takes queen g5. Maybe I go king g7. With the point being on this check. I'll go king h8. That still doesn't work. Queen h6. So let me back up in this line. This is a nice find. I could play in this position king h7. But I think that might transpose, because after this, do I have a move that I want to play that's not taking the rook? There's a clear threat of queen h6 mate, which should probably be addressed. So here I probably need to take the rook. So let's go back. Rook e1. Bishop d7. Maybe I shouldn't allow any of this silliness. Maybe here I go just rook e8 and say none of this silliness is going to happen. Not at all. Because this is certainly playable. It's going to take me a little bit longer to get my pieces out, but I'm not going to drop this pawn. And this certainly looks fine. I suppose you can play this move queen g4, but then I probably have e5, abusing that diagonal. And I don't think you're going to be happy here. So rook e8, just hold the pawn. I'll probably bring my queen over to like g7 to guard my king side a little bit, and then go bishop d7 and just be very solid. This looks very playable. So that instead of bishop d7, which does sacrifice this pawn. It's also possible I have an improvement later in the line. Like, for example, here, I can play rook f5 if I so desire, which is a reasonable move. Knight takes d5 in what position? After rook e8. Interesting. Yes. Knight takes d5. And that's fine. On that one, I'll actually just go queen g7. And my threat is to come in here. Well, maybe not. You have knight c7 ideas. But I can also just slowly develop with bishop d7, and then I will threaten takes. So, yeah, white does have threats here. So black needs to be careful. But I think this should still be good for black. It's currently 2 pawns for the piece. My king is... this move has a problem, actually. Because now queen c1, I don't have king g7. So this is why we analyze, because this is apparently quite tricky. Rook e1. The other move I thought about here was maybe playable, is e5. Using guarding the pin, or guarding this pawn via not guarding it. You know what I mean. Here I think the move should probably be knight d5, because I did hang this pawn. Then queen g7. Queen g7 is going to run into the same issues. Queen g7 is apparently never a good move. So perhaps I go queen a5, putting pressure. Queen a5. You can take. Probably knight takes. Maybe bishop takes, because this piece is loose. So on knight takes there could be some discovery. So something like bishop takes. And I think that black is okay here. I'm wondering if you can exploit this. This piece is only defended once, but this knight is loose as well. So white has his own hanging pieces to deal with. This bishop is really out of play. I think black is doing okay here. So perhaps after g6, rook e1, the way to go is e5, just breaking up everything. I also was maybe a fan of this position after rook f5. I thought this was also very good for black. This also looked like a reasonable alternative. So I'm going to say my analysis claims that both this rook f5 line and the e5 lines appear to win for black. Whereas bishop d7, my idea is to give the piece back to have utter safety, which is not a terrible idea, but it's not totally clear that I'm winning in these endings, I don't think. My point was after queen d2, I'm actually going to play bishop f4 anyway. And I'm going to give the piece back, but I'll win my pawn, and I'll have at least a pleasant ending, if not outright winning. So he has to take. I took with the queen, and now we see some issues for white here. The queen hangs, this hangs, and if he plays rook f4, it's very difficult to defend this piece. After bishop g3, you're losing 2 pieces for the rook. Something like this. But perhaps this was the best try for him, because I wasn't so sure about this ending. Black is clearly better, but after rook on a to d1, this is not 100% clear. Not totally clear. So I'm going to say this ending is slightly unclear, but the lines with g6 appear to be winning. That is why bishop d7 is overly safe and therefore not objectively correct, no matter how safe it may be. But I should go back, because this position is very rich. White has quite a few opportunities here. We looked at takes, which is playable. Rook d1 is playable. Also playable is knight f3. Knight f3 was the game continuation. So let's look at the other two first. After queen f4, oops, excuse me. Rook f4. I believe bishop g3 is the only try. And this ending looks very good for black. Maybe not clearly winning, but very good. After rook d1, here at the very least I can take and go rook f4 with a similar idea. It's very difficult to protect this piece. But this version of the ending is a little bit better for white because this rook has already made it into the game. Or excuse me, I think I was going knight f4. They're both playable probably, but I just want to get this piece back in the game. Oh, no. I scrolled the screen. Terrible. Grave mistake. Thank you, Archon, for letting me know. So this ending is better. So after rook d1, perhaps stronger. I was wondering if I could take this. I remember in the game I was trying to calculate this. Where is this? Let's promote this. Queen h4. So this is complicated. This is very complicated. Because now there's discoveries. That's not how you draw arrows. Now there's discoveries. So First thing that you should note is this doesn't work because of queen f4. So you're not going to win the queen. Now, we can try a double check here, which is interesting. But here, I think you're losing. You're not recovering any material. You can go, say, queen d3. But I'll just slip away into the knight. And I should be winning here. You don't have knight g5. So I think this wins. So there's the main try, which is knight e6. And now you're going to pick up the rook. But I did take a piece here. So it takes. What's going on here? I think black is almost winning. And the reason is white's king is so weak. It's actually white's king that's going to come under a lot of fire here. With moves like bishop h3, knight f4, this rook can come in to like f3 or h3 or something. And that's just too many arrows for white to survive. So I think this is I think this ending is losing. Which means rook d1 is probably not correct after taking on h4. So instead, white tried knight f3. And this is interesting. This is very interesting. There's a couple things you can do here. Note that the queen is pinned. So there's no queen f3. So first off, you can take, and take. But I actually, I wasn't so sure about lines where this bishop stays on the board. Because this bishop will be a good piece for white. It's going to be an unopposed bishop. So I didn't really want to enter a line where this bishop stays on the board. For example, something like this. And suddenly this bishop will find a way to come back into the game. This is still probably much better for black, who has two center pawns. White has no center pawns. But the bishop is bad. This knight is currently slightly misplaced. Although black has an extra pawn, I think black is still doing well, but I'm not crazy about this position. Knight c6 probably forced. And this is a little bit unclear. So that's what happens on, what line was that? On queen d2, right? Trade of queens. Also playable is knight d4. This is very complex because white has the move bishop g5, which is ultra complex. But this is not losing for black, as losing as it may appear, because I think black has this move king h7. Kind of a cool move. And every line should survive with an extra pawn. On check, there's queen f4. And then on takes, we take here. There's also takes, king g2, takes. But again, this bishop is staying on the board, which worries me a little bit. I didn't want to play a line where this bishop stays on the board. So instead of all this, after knight f3, I played king h7, which renews my threat of taking the knight, because I've unpinned the queen. So here's what white can do. White can check. Let me promote this line. White can check. And white can take. White took in the game, which I think is probably incorrect. But I mean, not necessarily terrible. On queen d3, I was just going to drop back. And I'm threatening to take this. And I'm not threatening to take this. Maybe you can go king g2. You cannot. You can. And the point is, after this check, you're going to go bishop g3. But this looks highly dangerous. No, this loses. Ha, I remember this line. Just kidding. Can't do this. So yeah, after queen d3, you cannot go king g2 because this check either wins the knight or the queen. So that's not good. That means after king g8, you have to go knight g5, but this will transpose to the knight g5 check, king g8, queen d3, and my move here was going to be rook f5. And it's not clear how you're going to hold all your material, because this is hanging. If this moves, the knight will be hanging. So basically everything is hanging, and there's not a lot you can do. So these checks are suspicious. They both get met by this rook f5 idea. And you just have too much stuff hanging. This bishop is poorly placed. So instead, my opponent traded, which after analysis, I said maybe this is not the best move. After analysis, it's probably the best move. Because the other lines appear to be losing. Rook f4. And now my this knight hangs. It's very difficult to defend. My opponent played king g2, which I think is a mistake. So because it allows me to bring this other rook into the game with a gain of time, I think more accurate is to immediately check. And then after king g6, we get sort of the same sort of thing that we've seen earlier. And I think black is obliged to take. I don't see anything better. Take, take, take. And again, this ending must be good for black, but again, it's not 100% clear. This bishop is a little bit bad. Maybe I go bishop e8 right away in order to threaten this rook. But white has vague chances to try and salvage a draw here. And so this is probably the best. But after king g2, I think you really are just losing. Because now, after knight g5, the same line is much worse because I take with the rook. All of a sudden, this rook has zoomed over from a1 to f4. And I have pressure here. You cannot save this pawn. After knight e2, I just go check and takes. And after here, the game is the ending is winning. It's just cleanup. Let me check my score sheet to make sure I'm putting all these moves in correctly. King e3. Where is that? Oh, that's right. After rook d1. Excuse me, I inputted the move slightly incorrectly. Rook d4. We saw here rook g1 check. Let me promote that. King f5, and now rook d1. My threat was check. So I played bishop c6, yes. King e3, e5, rook g1, d4, here, knight f4, king e2, just g6, very solid. And after h4, knight h3, I'm going to win the f2 pawn, which is going to win the game. Very annoying. Rook f1, bishop d5. My opponent played rook c1 and then resigned. So, let's go over takeaways from this game. Because remember, like I said at the start, it's very important to have takeaways that you can apply to your next game. So my main takeaway is clearly that bishop d7 move. So my main takeaway is don't be scared to play complicated positions if you think it is objectively best. Here I played a simple move, but the simple move, the safe move, was not best, so I would have much rather played g6, which is objectively winning, in my opinion. My analysis seemed to say that this move wins, whereas my analysis says this move gets me a slightly unclear ending. So play the objectively best move. That is my only takeaway from this game. Otherwise, I think I played this game well. I think I found all best moves except for bishop d7. I think everything else was actually correct. Yeah, everything else was good. So I finished my analysis for this game. That means it's time to turn on the engine and see what it says. So c5, it wants to go c4 here. That's interesting. I disagree with that. And here it likes this queen a5 move. Yeah, actually that's another takeaway. And that's a good point. Work a little bit harder. If your opponent plays something that's not the main move order, work a little bit harder to figure out why that might be incorrect. Because here queen a5 was very interesting. Although I don't think you can go for the pawn grab. After bishop d2, it just wants to go queen b6. I took and went queen b6, which is apparently incorrect. Why is queen b6 immediately better? Oops, I've highlighted everything. Because c3... I think it has to do with this diagonal not being open. But this is a little bit... this is a little bit shaky. I probably wouldn't place. Yeah, white played a move order without an early e5. But I just transposed. He played this bishop d3 first. But I was happy to transpose. And then the other thing that he did was instead of playing knight e2 here, he played the other knight first, which leaves this interesting idea of queen a5 that I missed during the game. So that's what I'm talking about, working a little bit harder to punish strange move orders. Because this is not the main move. And I think I should have worked a little harder to figure out what's wrong with this move, and maybe I would have looked into queen a5 here. But this is fine. Oh, sorry, not this is fine. This is just mainline now. I can also go queen a5 here, but probably not good. Total mainline. The engine doesn't understand these positions. Yeah, and that's a losing move. Rook e1. Yeah, I thought about that move, but g3. It wants to go bishop f4 right away. Wow. Not a move I considered. I had this idea on my mind. But that's interesting. What happens after g6? Not the best move. We go into these rook e1 lines. It's still winning. Ooh, it wants to go... Yeah, it liked my rook f5 idea. Yeah, this looks very good. I had this idea of rook f5. But okay, bishop d7, not awful. It really likes this move, bishop f4. Wow. Okay. Maybe I'm misevaluating this ending. I guess I'm misevaluating this ending. That's very interesting to me. That I thought this ending was slightly better, but unclear. But apparently this ending is simply winning. Who knew? Yeah, here he had to go knight g5 and play this ending. And this ending I thought was unclear, but apparently it's just winning. Why is this winning so hard? Because you go e5? What? You go e5, d4. Ooh. No, you don't. What? Are you getting mated? What's going on? Okay, I'll take this like this. Huh. You're just getting mated. Okay. I did not appreciate that I was mating my opponent in this ending. I really did not appreciate this. So, that's interesting. It seems I've misevaluated this position. That's very good to know. I'm not respecting the activity of my pieces here. I didn't respect the activity of this knight and the power of having pawns in the center. Okay, that's a good takeaway. Really, continue to respect active pieces in the ending. When you're evaluating, you have to continue to respect how active your pieces are. It wants to take there. Yeah, it's totally winning. Okay, let's go on to our second game, because the second game is much more interesting. Turn the engine off. I don't want the engine. Thank you, No Clue, for stopping by. I'm going to go turn the lights on in my room because it's getting a little dark, and then I'll be right back. So, this is my second game. I played this on Monday. And on Monday, I play in something called the FIDE Mondays, which is a FIDE-rated open tournament that lasts like 6 weeks. You play one game every week. And last Monday was the first week, which means there's some imbalanced matchups. And my rating of 20 and change put me directly in the middle, which means I had the pleasure of playing up. And so the pairings came out, and I was on board 2. I had white against a strong FM named Kyron Griffith, and I was like, okay, fine, I can deal with that. And then someone else got added to the pairings, so we got repaired, and I got repaired to board 1. Where I had black against a strong IM named Raven Sturt. And some of you might have even heard of Raven Sturt. He's a really good player, and I had black against him, so I was like, oh boy, am I in for it, or am I in for it? So I think this was a good game for me to have, because it it was a reminder of all the work I still need to do. Raven is a calculating machine. This guy is insane. I think he played in the Pro Chess League for the Montreal Chess Bras. I'm pretty sure. He's Canadian. So I think he played for the Montreal team in the Pro Chess League. He's a really good player. And you can learn with me as to how I got demolished by Mr. I Am Ravensturt. So the game, I had black in this game. Also, Angel of Death, I will check that out after we go through this game with the Mr. Raven. Canadians play chess? They do. Ever heard of Eric Hansen? He's a Canadian. So here, Raven played knight f3, which means no Nimzo. Raven didn't feel like allowing the Nimzo Indian. And after knight f3, I played d5. And the reason I do this is I avoid the main line of the exchange Queen's Gambit declined, because in the main line of this exchange QGD, this knight goes to e2, and I think those lines are very dangerous for black. So I wait for knight f3, and then I play d5. So it's just a little move order stuff where I'm not allowing the exchange QGD where the knight goes to e2. So okay, d5, and here Raven played g3, indicating he'd like to play a Catalan. And as I was just in luck, somewhat recently, I posted on the Slack being like, yo, does anyone have a good line against the Catalan? Because I always lose against the Catalan. And someone showed me Tony Rowe's video on the Catalan. So I actually have this line like somewhat fresh in my mind, and we played through a lot of the line. You start with bishop d4, white goes bishop d2, and then you drop back. And you're going to argue that the bishop is a little bit misplaced because white would rather put the knight on d2 and then play e4. But the bishop on d2, not really where the bishop wants to be. So okay, bishop d2, bishop d6. Develops. I think I castled. And here, Raven played queen c2. The point is, a lot of times black is going to take here, and white can sometimes actually struggle to get the pawn back. So the queen does a good job here of just being able to snap that pawn back if necessary. c6. Castles. Knight bd7. This is following the main line of Tony Rowe's Catalan video. And here white goes bishop g5. Again, this bishop wasn't well placed, and it sort of needs to get out of the way for this knight to come. If you go knight c3, then I take here, and it's not so clear how you get this pawn back. So, interesting stuff. So bishop g5, which is the main move. h6, just going to poke him. This is all theory. This is all theory. Knight bd2. b6, I need to get this piece in the game. e4. And here's one disadvantage of having the bishop on d6. e5 is a threat with tempo. So you have to play bishop e7. Note that taking here is probably bad. This position is quite pleasant for white. White is doing well here. Note he's very well developed. The rooks come quickly. This bishop, it's not clear what this bishop is going to do. So this is not so good for white. e4, bishop e7. And here is where Raven broke from my knowledge. He played rook fd1, which is... No, Raven actually spent some time thinking here. Raven thought before this move, bishop g5. And Raven also... So, strangely, Raven thought in this position. He thought for like 5 minutes in this position, which I didn't quite understand before taking here. I mean, if you're going to play bishop g5, you have to take this knight, I think. And then he played pretty quickly here. And we got this position, and here I had to think. Because this was a new move. The move that I knew was e5. And then takes. And white can try and stir up trouble on the c file. But I think you have this move, knight b8, trying to bring the knight to c6. And black is a little worse, but no worse than any other game as black. So yeah, after rook fd1, I played bishop b7, which I think is logical. The point being, this bishop needs to do something at some point. Other moves to think about. A5 is maybe playable here. A5 is always a move that I'm interested in playing, gaining some space on the queen side. But here, I just felt like A5 is a little asking for it. Like, white's developing all his pieces, and I've still got like a lot of pieces that aren't really out and doing something. So I thought that bishop b7 just made a little bit more sense, seemed a little bit more solid. And I think bishop b7 is a fine move. Here my opponent played rook c1. And now I played, I think, what is a very poor move, unfortunately. And I think here was the start of my big troubles in this game. So it would be my life's goal to play c5. My life's goal, I know. But c5 right away is probably not a good idea. Let's see what happens on c5 right away. c5. This is very complicated. I'm worried about this line. Perhaps takes, 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 takes. And this knight can all of a sudden come in because the pawn has moved off of d5. Perhaps something like takes. Ooh, yeah, this is a problem. Takes here is a problem, I think. Takes in like knight b3. And it looks like my position's kind of falling apart, actually. This pin is very strong. If you play something like, I don't know, queen c7, I'm going to win back my bishop. If you try like rook c8, all of a sudden this knight can come flying in. Maybe this is not so bad. Maybe knight b3 was inaccurate, because this looks very shaky. Very, very shaky. There's also knight takes. But that's probably worse, I want to say. Bishop takes b3. Oh, in that position. I should flip the board. That's one thing I should do. How do I do that? Aha! So c5. This looks very scary to me, to open these lines with my queen still in line with the rook. But maybe it's not so unsound. Maybe it's not so crazy. Here I don't have to go knight b3 though. The move I want to play is this one, but that's not quite working. I could go knight c4. Or Raven could go knight c4. I keep acting like I'm white. I'm not white. What's going on here? Lord knows. I don't know, is this a move? That look, everything about my position looks like loose. Maybe c5 is playable here. Let's look at other options. He doesn't have to take like this. Maybe, oh yeah, it was this one maybe. Go e5 first. I think this bothered me somehow. Go like takes. And this is not so clear. Perhaps even, I have maybe a tricky move order. Maybe takes. No, sorry, not that one. Maybe takes. And the point is, after takes, e5. Well, maybe you can go here on this one. This looks very shaky. CD5. I think this looks more decent than I gave it credit for. So here's what I'm going to say about c5. An interesting alternative to the game. I should have tried harder to make this work, as it is a desirable break for black. I'm still not convinced this is working. It like feels very shaky to me, but I have not been able to, what's the word? I haven't been able to prove that it doesn't work, is basically what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it looks like it is maybe not awful. Knight b3. This was the most dangerous line I saw. Rook c8. Taking here doesn't look like it works. That's going to give my queen. There's some counterplay here. On knight e5, there's this move. Just kidding. I was only joking. No one saw that. There's not that move. But there's, I don't know, something like this maybe? Just kidding. I was only joking again. I promise you. That would not be good. So this position looks shaky for black, but not losing. Knight e5. Maybe I God, this piece is a problem. This piece is definitely a problem. Yeah, I don't know what to do about this piece. I feel like I'm just going to lose it. I can't move the queen away because then it's hanging, but I can't unpin without moving the queen. Queen e7. Queen e7, what's going on here? I don't know. It's too complicated for me. Everything's too complicated. Why is chess so hard? I have a crazy idea. I have a very crazy idea. My crazy idea is knight g6. Takes. And I think white is better. Ooh, just kidding. All of a sudden, where did that come from? Wow. Very just kidding. Maybe black just has enough resources to make this work. Okay. So c5 is a serious move here. c5 is a serious move that I should have looked more at. That's really good good information that I got from this analysis. I needed to more seriously consider this move. Another move that I need to consider here that I didn't really is rook c8. Rook c8 needs to get some consideration, some love here. What's going on here, rook c8? It's interesting. It's hard for white because this knight is quite awkward. It's not a well-placed piece. Where am I from that it's daylight here? The eastern part of the United States. I'm from New York, baby. This is New York. So this move looks pretty logical. And if you go like queen a4, I'll actually go a6, I think, and then play b5. And if you play c5, I'll take and try and play against this pawn. Because this pawn will be quite backwards on an open file. Also, currently this pawn is hanging, so you have to do something. Maybe you have to take, but then I'm happy if you have to take. Play some position like this. I would probably play c takes. Try to extend the scope of this bishop. And here I would actually play. No, I can't play bishop takes actually. I would probably play pawn takes. And the reason is I want to play against this knight. And I think black is doing fine here. Black is not so much worse. Maybe a little worse, but not so much worse. Nah, I live in the Bronx, baby. There ain't no skyscrapers here. So this was very playable, I think. But here, instead of any of these good moves we've come up with, I played takes, which I think is a very poor move. Knight takes was a little bit unclear to me because all of a sudden this knight gets to come into the game. So something like knight anywhere. Knight c4 is probably good. Maybe. Nah, knight c4 is. No, just kidding. Ha ha ha. Forget I said that. Yeah, knight e4. These knights come in. It's a little bit unclear. Maybe this is good. The more I look at it, the more I think it's good. Because this knight doesn't have a great square here. This b6 pawn is actually restricting a little bit, which is nice. And also this knight sort of gets in the way of this diagonal a little bit. So yeah. I mean, after rook c8, white does not have to go for queen a4. White can try something else. White can try like a plan with c5 or something. But this is much better than the game continuation. Yeah, or go like e5. You can go like e5, c5. But this is a little unclear. Like this pawn suddenly got quite weak. So, this is interesting. I can also go queen a5 maybe, trying to go after this guy. It's all playable. So those would have been better alternatives. However, I took, which I think is a mistake. What I'll say about taking is this relieves the tension. That's not useful tension. And improves white's worst piece on d2. I need to think longer in positions where I am considering relieving tension, especially in the center. Remember that trades should either be forced or fabulous. I know everyone hates on Maurice Ashley, but I think that's a great quote, that trade should either be forced or fabulous. This trade was not forced, and it sure as heck ain't fabulous. So I think this is a very poor move for me. And the issue here is after d4, knight e4, it becomes really, really hard to play c5, which is a break I have to achieve. First off, if I try c5 right away, this alignment becomes a problem. I have to play queen c7. And here we get a position like this where I think I'm just down a pawn. I don't see really my compensation here. I don't think I have enough compensation. These pawns will probably roll, make a pass pawn. White is clearly better here. So I don't think c5 is playable. Here I played queen c7. I think taking is also bad, because after queen c7, knight e5, there's huge pressure here. So white is clearly better here. And also you can't play c5 because this is pinned along the diagonal. Very unpleasant. Like super, super unpleasant position. So let's take this position. And I think this is a good exercise. This is the first in a series of questions. Are you as good as an I am? I think white has only one move to maintain his advantage. And I might be wrong. I haven't engine checked this. But I think there's only one good move here. So the question goes out to chat. Are you as strong as an I am? Find the one move for white that maintains his advantage. It's a good puzzle, though. This is a really good puzzle. Because I think if white plays anything else, I'm okay. But white played a really good move here. D5 is probably bad. I'll take this way. I know your idea was after takes, I'm in trouble because of the pin. But I'll take this way. Yeah, the correct move is C5. And I saw this move. I knew he would play it. It's very, very strong. And I have big issues now. So, knight e5 I think is less clear after c5. If you let me play c5, I am fine. I will live in this position. I will live here. I'm doing okay. All of a sudden, this bishop came to life. But in this position, that's not a piece. That does not count as a piece. C5, D takes C5? Wait, hold on. Is that true? What's going on here? What's going on here? I think I'm winning. Am I not winning here? Your knight is hanging. Oh, you're gonna hit with the... It comes with tempo. Okay, I see your point. I see your point. But now I'll take here. What's going on here? I have two pieces for a rook and a pawn. It's arguable who's better here. It's arguable who's better here. That's interesting, though. No, C5 here is really, really strong. And let's see. I took this knight, which is not forced. But if I don't take that knight, it's sort of hard to like do anything. The point being, if I go like here, white's gonna go something like knight e5, and then take, and this pawn will just come under tremendous pressure. So white has a simple plan here, and it's hard to do anything, really. My position is very bad here. So that's rook d8, but it might be better than what I played. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on here. Rook d8. Can also take right away. And go knight e5. I don't know, can I go c5? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely can't go c5. So yeah, this is much better for white, I think. Hello, pro finisher. How are you doing? Here you might have to play rook c8, but then takes, and can you take there? That's an interesting question. There will be a pin down the file. But I can unpin. Yeah, I can unpin. But this will hang. It's a little unclear. After like takes. You can unpin, but all of a sudden that'll be opposite colors. That won't be good. Oh, rook a2 back there. Yeah, that's true. Knight e5 can be met by rook a2. So maybe just the immediate knight e5 is better. Yeah, I think just the immediate knight e5 is better based on all the reasons given in chat. And the point is, if you ever take, I can actually play knight takes, I think. And then all of a sudden, I maintain the weakness of this pawn by exposing the heavies on it, which is very unpleasant for you. Although, that's interesting. After takes, I wonder if I can do something crazy like this. It's a little crazy. It's probably too crazy. It's definitely too crazy. Because my idea was this knight hangs, but then if I take, all of a sudden this bishop hangs. Oh, but the rook hangs. And it's still just an exchange. White must be better here. Just go back. White is better. So yeah, just knight e5, and white has tremendous pressure. But after takes, queen takes. Here I think I played incorrectly. I took here. And I had an idea, but it doesn't quite work. So I think better here is to go rook fd8 immediately. And my point is on knight e5, I will take and go rook d5, which is annoying because that's hanging, that's hanging. If you trade, all of a sudden my weakness is gone, and my bishop has a little bit of scope. Maybe I can go rook b8 and like d4 or something. I don't know. Maybe I can win this pawn. So I think after knight e4, queen e4, just the immediate rook d8 is much better. But here I played bc5, and after dc5, I want to go queen a5 here. Yeah, that's the thing. There's always that rook d7, which is really painful. So I want to go queen a5 here, but there's rook d7, which it hurts. Yeah, so I can't do that. That's why I have to play this move. But here we see why bringing the rook first doesn't work. Or why bringing the rook first is better. Because after this exchange and rook, oh, not that line. After the exchange and rook d8, instead of playing knight e5, my opponent found a much better move, which is knight d4. And here, the knight puts pressure, but the knight also has some more nefarious intentions. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to get into a lot of trouble here. So here, I think I'm close to losing, because there's tremendous pressure here, and if I'm not careful, there's going to be some gangbusters on e6. And that ain't going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty at all. So here I tried an interesting move. I tried the same idea with rook d5. And here I think Raven's genius really showed through. Because Raven played a really, really good move. And it might be the only good move in the position. I'm not sure on that. But this might be the only good move in the position. So take 2 or 3 minutes, think about the position, and then try and find the best move for white. Take a little bit of time. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Take some time to think about this position, because this is critical. This is very critical. All right, let's see what we got. So Iago says 96. Any other lines? No one else has any ideas? Only 96? The Chachas of Iago. So, that's creative. I agree. I think I would just play bishop c8. So, I spent probably about 15 minutes before the move rook d5. And the reason was I was analyzing this move knight e6. You have to. After knight d4, you have to recognize that this piece is going to come crashing through. So after rook d5, knight e6, my opponent, Raven, said he almost played this. But then he realized that I have a trick, and that he's actually losing. Because in this position, I had planned the move queen d7. Whew. What? Look at that. I'm a tricky little guy. Queen d7. What? And you have some big problems. First off, takes queen somewhere. Here you're gonna lose the knight for not really any compensation. So that is not good enough. You probably have to take with the pawn. Well, after this, no, there's just bishop c8. Oh, There is some compensation here. And the reason is after bishop c8, there's this move. And you can play this position, but black is better. Although it's not 100% clear what's going on here. 22. It's an attempt. What's up with this position? I think I'm winning. Yeah, I think I'm winning there. So maybe your best shot is to play... No, I think I should play queen e6 here. Yeah, this is probably good. Yeah, or bishop takes c6, sure. I can't take this? True. I can't take that. That's fair. But here I go bishop d5. Nope, that doesn't work. That's a little annoying. That's a little annoying. I would have to play rook d8 and play a worse ending. But it would be an opposite color bishop ending. This is probably a draw. Yeah, I can just be taken though, yeah. You're right. I know, but there's the move queen c2. Oh, the rook is covered. Yeah, you're right. And I can't queen. Fair. Haha, I'm missing a lot of tactics here. Here after takes, there's queen c2. And I can't like take this piece and save this piece. So I'm not sure what's going on here. But yeah, after c6, we just take the queen apparently, and this line works. Probably king f7 actually. Come to the center. And this appears to win for black. So that's good. The other thing after queen d7 is you can try this move. But here I was actually counting on the pin. I was going to play rook d8. And, or sorry, not rook d8. Maybe rook d8. What was I going to play? No, I think rook d8 is actually inaccurate, because then there's something. Rook d8, there's rook e1, I think. So instead of rook d8, you have to go bishop f6. And here I think you get the piece. I don't see how you save this piece. Rook c4. I'll go rook d8. More pressure. More pressure. And now you're just going to lose this piece. So that was sort of the point of my move rook d5. Where was that variation? Is that you actually cannot sack on e6 because you are worse here. The other point of my move is your c-pawn's hanging. If you let me take the c-pawn, like, if we trade these pawns, I'm so happy. I'm, like, thrilled as black if we trade these pawns. So, white needs to find a move here to deal with everything in the position. White needs an excellent, excellent move here that Raven played. And this move seals the game, I think. b4 is less clear. After b4, rook d8, now on, say, queen e2. I actually you can't play queen e2, excuse me. Say queen e3. I have this annoying move e5, abusing the pin down the file. And the point is, after takes, you have to take here. Say takes. And now probably pawn takes. This is a little bit unclear. Is it better for white? Absolutely. But it's not so super clear. These bishops can become powerful. Sheppy, you've literally posted the game continuation in chat. The move played was queen e3. Incredibly powerful. Incredibly, incredibly powerful. Take it on f7. Oh, with the bishop? That's true. That's a little annoying. This is still not the clearest thing the world has ever seen. It is now 2 pawns, and the rook for the 2 bishops, but it's 2 bishops still. And this bishop will probably swing itself around. Maybe I should even start with that, actually. Start with bishop c8. And he'll swing around to e6. Yeah, it's something. White is better, I think, but it's not very clear. But in the game, queen e3. And the point of this move is that you don't have time to double, because it immediately exposes the attack of the bishop. Yeah, I think the other version is a little bit better, Ali Fuentes. So here, I think I'm losing. I did not see this move at all. That's a really hard move to see, and I think it wins. I think this is a winning move. Here I thought for another 15 minutes, and I went into a long forcing line. I played rook c5. I've been allowed to take this pawn, but it does lose. Raven evaluated the position correctly, because after the incredibly forcing line, knight e6, attacking everything, the point is you can't really take this, because this is terrible. Look at that. I have a pawn on b2. This is basically unplayable. So, excuse me. You can't take this knight. It's basically unplayable. So I went in for the forcing line. And I got to this position and I said, okay, I'm fine. But I'm not fine. Well, I have big problems here. I have 2 pieces hanging. So unfortunately, this position is simply lost. Yeah, and that's the other thing. If you go bishop g5, which is an interesting idea, white just goes queen b3. Everything's hanging. Hello. How you doing, that guy? 151689. Yeah, the problem is in this position, the only way to force the knight to move is to play this move, and then bishop a6 is not a threat. Can I analyze a game for you? Maybe after I'm done with this one. I'll consider it. Yeah, the only way to force the knight to move is to play here, but then bishop a6 is not a thing. So, and this ending, it requires some technique. It's a queen for rook and bishop, but I have no doubts that Raven could convert this. Bishop f8. Oh, I see. Even there, no, that doesn't quite work. Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, you just go queen b3. Picks off one of these pieces. So, very unfortunate after rook c5. The problem is in this position, after queen e3, I have to go rook d8, which is painful. But then I think I lose to knight e6. The point being, I'm just going to get murdered on the light squares. Maybe he even starts with this. Rook e1. No, because then bishop f6. So bishop e4. And how do I protect my light squares? I feel like the answer is I don't. Yeah, the problem is here. There's this move, which is a really painful move. This one hurts. Bishop c8? Oh, yeah. There's sometimes you have bishop c8 ideas, but then you get mated, probably. Instead of bishop f8, oh god, queen e6, bishop e4. If you go bishop c8, yeah. This one might hurt. Have to run. I'm probably going to win g7. That's not going to be pleasant. You have to step up. That's awful. Yeah, so the point is, I can't play rook c5, but I also don't think I can retreat. I think there's knight e6. King f6, bishop h5. Yeah, I stopped calculating because I was like, oh, this is just losing. The king is walking. Yeah, I mean... No, I think instead of that... bishop g6. Maybe bishop g6 is inaccurate. Here I think just rook e1 again. Just putting problems along this file. Bishop c2? Oh, yeah. That's better. I suppose you can try and repeat. But the point is there's this. Yeah, it's nasty. That's a good one. Yeah, it's a little unclear, but this king is so open. Bishop f6 instead of bishop c8. I am not 100% sold on that. Let me look. After bishop f6, queen f5, king g8. Again, there's this move. This move is really strong. Now there's massive threats. I don't see how you immediately defend your position. King f8 is better. 1 second, there's someone at the door. Coming! Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a good one, sir. Box arrived for my girlfriend. King f8. Do the same thing probably. I'm just trying to weave a net here. Go boom boom. Yeah, that's the question. Can you stop that? I think you have to go queen f7 with the point of putting the queen on g8. Yeah, it's true this is not immediately clear. Maybe black will find a way to live here. It is very complicated. If you go bishop g6 first, that might be better. Where's my king f8 line? I have too many lines. I'm confused. I could maybe try and make a mad dash to freedom. That seems brave. It's not the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But it's pretty ridiculous. Actually, I have a threat. I think. That might not be a threat. Because of like check and check. Where the king has to go. Rook e1 check, I was gonna, you know, keep on keeping on. Yeah, bishop f5, that's a good move. That's a good move. It's actually checkmate. That's fair. That's a fair point. Yeah, it loses. So I can't make a mad dash, you're right. Yeah, this is totally lost. So the point is, after rook d5, the position is actually lost after queen e3. However, perhaps more interesting in this position is instead of rook d5, I wonder if e5 is anything. Because e5 is very confusing. Here's something like knight f5, bishop f8. You can also take, but that's a pin along the file that I'm not so sure you want to step into. If you take right away, you're gonna drop him with check, so probably takes, takes, takes. What's happening here? I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. So e5 is an interesting move that I should have more seriously considered, I think. You're actually gonna play this move anyway to unpin. No, no, that loses a piece. Where did I lose a piece here? Am I losing a piece? No, I'm not. I'm fine. But I am losing a pawn. Just kidding. Yeah, this is... But it's opposite color bishops. I can probably draw this. Yeah, this looks fine. So e5 is certainly interesting. I think knight f5 is critical. But after bishop f8, now I want to go like g6. I also want to take this at some point. With like takes, takes, takes. So, a little bit unclear here. I think this was preferable to rook d5, but in order to refute rook d5, you have to see queen e3. And that's an easy move to miss. Oh, I forgot to point out one thing about queen e3. If after queen e3 you go rook e5, what's white's move here? I forgot to point this out. This move is even better than it looks at first thought. Or at first sight. Excuse me. What's the move? What's white playing? Rook e5 hits the queen. Queen f4. You lose. Yeah, the annoying thing is that bishop g5 is normally met by f4. But if you play queen f4, you ain't playing f4. You take it back. Well, if you don't know what you're doing here, then I'm going to win. Mr. Raven had a plan here. He wasn't going to let me get away with this. This swindle. There's a reason I didn't play this move. White is a good move here. Queen a3 is correct. You just defend the pawn. And as mentioned in chat, the rook is trapped. Say I play this, f4, bishop f3, bishop g4. The rook runs out of squares. Very annoying. So yeah, this move queen e3, it's a dual-purpose move. It protects the c-pawn tactically here, and it protects the c-pawn if challenged. The queen can swing around and protect the c-pawn via a3. Really, really strong move. So let's go through my takeaways for this game. I think my number one takeaway is don't relieve the tension unless it's forced or fabulous. So there were two moments I relieved the tension early. First, here I played bc5. It's a bad move. Start with the rook. Start with the rook. And then after knight e5, I can go take, take, and rook d5, and there's no longer any knight e6 shenanigans. And currently the knight is hanging, where in the other line, the knight is not hanging on d4. So don't relieve the tension unless it's forced or fabulous. After rook fd8, maybe he goes bc, but then I start to have c5 ideas, so I can live here. Also, if knight e5 here, all of a sudden, I can sort of sack this pawn to go rook a2, which is an idea. So this is interesting. That's relieving the tension too soon. Another moment. Here, I took on e4. I relieved the tension in the center, and I improved one of his worst pieces. No, I think this is the first main mistake of the game. de4. Here we looked at a lot of moves. I think rook c8 is incredibly sensible. But I also think that we looked at c5 and we couldn't make it not work. It looks very loose, but I couldn't disprove it. But here I think a very sensible move is rook c8 and play c5 next move when it's really, really solid. So I should mention, after queen c7, c5, the problem with knight d5, I looked at this, is now, unfortunately, after knight e5, you can never take here because this knight takes. So there's nothing to stop white from just building up pressure and like winning this. And the knight is well placed, but I think white almost wins this by force. It's like very close. This is incredibly unpleasant. I think here you have to go rook c8. You have to protect this pawn. But now white can start to go to just bolster the position. Something like b4, b5. Obviously, we can't play b4 right away. So start with a3 maybe. I can also think about queen a4 because you move this rook. It could be the other rook, but the other rook really wants to go to d8. Go something like queen a4, pressure, pressure. Yeah, that's a little annoying. Because after queen a4, you kind of have to play a6. But then maybe I take here. Because you can no longer play pawn takes. There's just so much pressure. f5 can never be correct. Rook c8, e5, white is better. Probably. White will be better in most lines. But this is fine. Because here I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take. Oops, excuse me. I'm ready to take and go c5. If I can do that, I'm doing well. Just take and go c5. What exact position are we talking about? f5? Oh, it was in the knight d5 lines. Knight e4, queen c7, c5. Knight d5, knight e5, f5 here. How is c5 hanging? No, I think Tony Rowe didn't lead me wrong. I just didn't play the position well. f5? Why do I have to go bc5? Oh, because the knight's going to hang. Okay. I see your point, actually. But I don't think it's quite valid. Because after here takes, I'm going to go knight g6. Here I'm okay, or here white's okay, I think. In fact, I think white is doing very well. Because all of a sudden, there's a new weakness to play against. CD4? Yeah, you can. I'll take the rook. It's an exchange sack. It might be a good exchange sack. Because, well, here, I think... So on knight... I have knight b3. Knight b3 might be a little bit annoying, I think. Because on e5, I actually take here. Can't play c5. I say that. I say you can't play c5. What's going on here? I don't know. It's a mess. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting exchange sack. But as pointed out, we can do this. Although it looks like you will get in c5, which is an accomplishment. Here's c5. Yeah, this is very real. Yeah, this is actually a good point. So knight d5. Maybe this is better than I gave you credit for. It's very possible. Anyway, I still think my main takeaways are don't relieve tension in the center unless I have to or unless it's good for me. Down here, don't relieve tension unless I have to or it's good for me. I don't have to relieve the tension. I can leave it for one more move until here. And here I'm okay. Although, what's going on here exactly? Something. Here I'm doing fine. So yeah, I don't need to relieve the tension, which means I shouldn't. How's f5 96? Confusing. That's how it is. Here I'll take it. You can take here if you want, but maybe you can't. So, I don't think this works. I think knight d6 is overambitious. Yeah, that looks pretty forced. I think you can't take here. And if you can't take there, then I won a pawn. I'm not doing great, but I'm up a pawn. So let's go through with the engine and check this analysis. My main takeaway was that my mistakes were relieving the tension in the center and when I didn't evaluate correctly the end of a tactical sequence. e6, e4, bishop e7. Bishop b7 is correct. Here it wants to go rook c8, which is the move I said I should be played. After rook c8, someone was claiming that e5 should be played. I don't think that's correct, because here I'm ready to take and go c5. In fact, the engine wants to go knight e1 to prevent c5 from being played. But then I'd probably just go like queen c7 or something, and then take, go c5. So rook c8 is very good. Let's check c5. We thought it was interesting. It says c5 is playable. Now it's not so sure. It wants to go e5 here. And I shouldn't go knight d7. I think it wants to get a quick e6 in. It's definitely more comfortable for white, but it should be fine. Yeah, the engine's saying this is good because it's trying to go e6. Yeah, it's trying to play e6. But yeah, just go rook c1 there. Very good. But this, I think, the engine says this is okay. That surprised me. I think white is a little bit better here. Queen c7, c5. Takes, okay. It likes taking. If we bring the rook immediately, yeah, we start to run into some knight e5 stuff. This is not so clear. You're going to have to take eventually. The other suggestion here was knight d5, knight e5. Wanted rook c8. Rook c8 is fine. But we had this f5 line where after takes, knight c3. So that is going to guard this pawn. And I think the computer's just going to say that this pawn is very, very, very weak. And that this pawn is still weak. Can you play c5? No, you can't. The reason you can't play c5 is this is going to be underprotected. After knight g6, there's an intersection point on this square because takes is coming. And then there's going to be 3 attackers on this square and only 2 defenders. That's interesting. Yeah, I saw this position and it felt very shaky, whereas here, I thought I was okay. Wow, it likes bc5. No way. No way. And it doesn't like this. After b4. Wow. It likes this move. And it says I'm fine. What? Why am I fine? You know what it's going to do? It's going to go bishop g5, f4, e5. I bet you anything. Okay, I was wrong. Forget I said that. I didn't bet anything. Yeah, e5 loses. Okay, fine. Why is this good? Is it just saying you can't take this? This probably... Because I'm going to... Okay, so let's see. I'm going to turn this off so I can analyze this without the engine. So what's going on rook c8? There's an unpinning motif. He's hit. Yeah, this looks okay. This looks okay. Minus 0.2. Here it wants to go rook d5. Ooh. Yikes. Okay. And it wants to go rook d8 back. I believe it. Does knight e6 work? Here I looked at e5. Oh, e5 earlier. Ooh. Yeah, e5's not working. We came to that conclusion. Rook d5, queen e3, very strong. Let's check this knight takes e6. Yeah, it loses to queen d7. I'm very happy I found that. But after queen e3, I have to go rook d8. And then e4, yeah. It doesn't like this sack? No, it doesn't like it. It says it's bullshit. King f8. Here it says draw. Wow. Okay, that's some crazy stuff. Yeah, now I'm losing. Bishop d6. What? Why can't... What's wrong with queen b3 here? Just winning everything? What? What? Is that a joke? Wow. Okay. So it wants to play this position? Okay, sure. Sure. Okay. Whatever. Man. That's rough. That's a rough one. So I think my mistakes, I still think this is a mistake, even if the end is fine with it. I think that this makes my life harder. Just rook c1, or sorry, rook c8 is much better. Here. What did it want to play? Yeah, it wants to bring the rook. And just give this pawn. It's never afraid to give that pawn. Wow. Yeah, I'll play cd5 there. Let me get to that. Yeah, rook c8, e5, knight d7, cd5? Yeah, cd5. I'm doing great here. Black is fine. Black is fine here. Say, the engine says queen b3. On queen b3, I'll go knight b8. That was my idea anyway. The knight comes to c6. It's well placed. It puts pressure. All my pieces make sense. You don't really have an attack on the king side, so I'm going to try and play against this pawn. At some point I'll play a5, bishop a6. Like here, bishop f1, a5. This one's actually a little annoying here. This might have been a little bit overambitious. a5, knight b1. Yeah, because I can't play this yet because I'm actually gonna hang this at the end, which is a little bit annoying. So I won't play a5 right away. I'll play just like rook c7. Or maybe queen d7 first. Queen e7 followed by rook. No, that doesn't make any sense. Which one I start with? No, I'll go rook c7 and then queen c8 and then bishop a6. That makes sense. Yeah, but I think black is fine here. Like, you're black. You're not going to be equal. When you're playing black versus a good player, it's not like you have to work for your quality. Here I'll go queen c8, and I think I'd be okay with this position. If I had gotten this position, I would have been happy with it. I'll go bishop a6 soon. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to equalize in the Catalan as black straight out of the opening. It's going to take some time to equalize as black. If there was a forced equalizing line in the Catalan, we wouldn't see so many Catalans on the top level. It's because it's difficult for black to equalize against correct play. And like, white has done nothing wrong. White's played very well. So what are you going to do? You just have to accept that you're going to be a little worse. That's just what playing black is. Until white does something wrong, you're probably going to be a little worse. If I had got this position, I would have been happy. It would be good enough for black. Because I'm going to go queen c8, bishop a6, just try and trade these bishops, maybe trade a pair of rooks. I mean, my queen can maybe go on b7, rook here, knight here. I'm doing all right. And my king side, it might be a little bit lonely. You might have more space on the king side, but it's going to take you a while to get an attack on the king side. So I think I'll be okay. Anyway, that was all I had in terms of games to analyze. I thought Raven played that very well. I didn't play terribly well. But it's confusing. It was complicated. So I definitely made my life hard. When I invited his pieces in. Here, I was not totally tactically sound. After rook d5, there's queen e3, which is a tough one to see. Here, what did the engine give? It gave something ridiculous, right? Oh yeah, bishop g5 to f6. I guess I was overly materialistic. I was too worried about this pawn. When in fact that pawn is really hindering my position, and a lot of times it's actually difficult for white to take. So I needed to be less scared of losing this pawn. So some takeaways: don't relieve tension too early, and really make sure your opponent has a threat, right? Because here it's not clear if white is actually threatening to take this. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. So here I should look for other moves. Yeah, anyway, that's all for this game. I know a while ago some people mentioned they wanted games analyzed. I'm willing to do like a quick analysis. I'm probably not going to go like super in depth. Are either of those people still here who wanted games analyzed? Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me. Oops, shouldn't do it in this window. My bad. Angel, can you post that link one more time? I just brought up the stream on my other computer, where I have where I'm streaming from. I usually look at chat through my laptop. Thank you. The worst game I've ever played over the board. That's exciting. You're not selling yourself here. All right, let's see what we got. What color were you? You were black? Great. Okay. That's a choice. Probably terrible, if I had to guess. But it's a choice. Here, like, G3, like, go D4. What's going on? Are you going to play H6 here? Like, man. After H6? This is terrible. Maybe I just go H4 already. This is like falling apart before it's even begun. I know he was black. I'm aware. What do you do here? You have to take. And now your position is legitimately awful. Yeah, but there's a difference between playing something offbeat and playing something that's losing. I think this is losing. But okay. He played G3. White didn't feel like winning. He felt like playing G3. I mean, who can blame him? And you know, we still wouldn't want to take control of the center and with tempo. D4, bishop G7 takes C5. Yes, this looks totally sound. What could go wrong? I just go like... Oh, your point is you're going to take and go queen A5. Yeah, but it doesn't work. This doesn't work at all. Yeah, here white is winning, I think. Queen moves. And I'll go bishop C3. Yeah, white is winning. So there's that. But okay, your opponent decided to not play principled chess and instead just quietly develops his pieces in the corner. Knight e2. Definitely wouldn't want to put our knights on central squares. That would be living life too dangerously. So we play knight e2. Okay. H5, good. Wouldn't want to stop our opponent from playing in the center. Nothing sensible like E5. No, that's just too sensible. Couldn't possibly do that. I guess e5 doesn't even stop it. Yeah, okay. So h5, legal. It's legal. Can't argue with that. d4, that's very sensible. g4, I assume white should go knight f4 here. It's probably good. Yeah, knight f4 looks really good. h3 is probably good. h3 is probably really good. Or knight f4 and h3. But okay, bishop e3 is not disastrous. e5. d5. Knight e7, knight a3. Somehow we're getting a King's Indian. How is that happening? f5. Yeah, it's like a King's Indian. Sort of. Ish. It's a King's Indian where we fianchettoed and played c3 and our knight's on e2 and our knight's on a3. A lot of things seem wrong here. Here I would play, as white, I would play c4 and put my knight on c3. Definitely. It actually works better against this f5 push, because if white ever takes, I have knight takes, and then this knight can go to c3, and my pieces are coordinating very well. Yeah, Sheppy, that's exactly right. In these positions, just go c4 on f5, go knight c3, because he can't play f4 yet. I mean, he can, but it's sacrificing a pawn. I think it's dubious. Also interesting is maybe just queen d2 with bringing the bishop into g5 or something. But okay, knight a3, f5, f3! What is happening? h4. Okay, hold on. Hold up. Yeah, here I would definitely be trying to queenside castle. With both sides, actually. f3. Really? What is happening? So, as black, I'm not sure I like taking here. I'm not sure I like taking it here either. I would probably like develop my pieces. I know that's a crazy concept, but sometimes I feel like I have to develop my pieces. Like, I would definitely consider the move knight f6. But I want to develop my pieces. I really want to develop my pieces. None of my pieces are developed. White developed all of his pieces. I didn't develop any of my pieces. I am very boring, I'll admit it. I just want to develop my pieces and be boring. But here, like, knight f6 just looks so good. And knight f6 threatens to win a pawn too. You guys are saying h4 threatens to win a pawn? This threatens to win a pawn too. I'm threatening takes, takes. That's not how bishops move. Takes. So I can develop a piece with tempo. But okay, h4. Queen c2. Why? Why? And now c6 instead of h3. What's going on here? Everything is dubious. Yeah, because now this is like really dubious. Well, I guess there's takes. I just want to develop my pieces. I guess here you don't take, you just go knight f6. Yeah, knight f6 is good. Yeah, like so okay, c6, sure. Long castles. cd5. White never wants to play c4 apparently. What? What? King b1. Can someone help me understand? Like, here, isn't h3 just like outright winning? This looks horrible. Oh my goodness. And now just like knight f6, probably. And I'm gonna like castle, actually. I think I'll castle. Oh yeah, I can do that. That's true. That's much better. Take either way. Either way is winning. That's a lot of pawns. Yeah, so that wins. But okay, we didn't feel like wait. Now we got h3. This all makes sense. We developed our pieces. Crazy, I know. Yes, the knight went back to a3 where it's never going to do anything ever again. We didn't feel like castling this game. Understandable. Rook c8 probably. Yep. What is going on? We castled! Praise the Lord. Line up with the queen, great. Yeah, sure. King c1. It's legal. Oh yeah, king h8. There were a lot of threats to my king. I definitely needed to play king h8. Oh, there actually was a threat to my king. Okay. That was rude of me. There's a threat. That's fair. That's a fair move. I take it back. Yes, I'm down 2 pawns, so I should trade queens. This is good thinking from the white player. I should pin all my pieces to myself. And then I should put pieces on squares where they can easily be attacked. What? A5! A5 wins everything. Yeah, we did all the serious analysis earlier. I don't have any energy for serious analysis left. A5 just wins everything. He has D3? Oh, okay. Fair. That's also good. That's fair. That's fair. I just thought A5 won. Oh, and he resigned. Great. Good game. Let's run this with a computer. I'm excited. Plus 1.1. Plus 1.2 after D4. Yep, okay, that's what I thought. G3, terrible move. It likes this E5. Great. Yeah, now it actually likes black position, because black's made all these pawn moves, but then white just closed up the position. So now black just has a lot of space. That makes sense. F3. Yeah, see, it likes to play knight F6 here. H3 wins, but okay, we didn't play that. H3 still wins, but we didn't play that. We didn't take that pawn back for some reason. Everything wins. H3, great. Take. Everything wins. Everything wins. Everything wins. Everything wins. Everything wins. Everything wins. Okay. Let me look at this other game that Sheppy posted. Oops. My window's a little bit off for this one, for whatever reason. Oh, I already have the computer analysis for this. Okay, a QGD. We played with the same move order that I play. Nice. What color are you, by the way? Ah, so it turns into a Queen's Gambit accepted. This is all reasonable. This is a pawn sack, but I think it's a known pawn sack where white gets good compensation. Oh, this is actually the Vienna game now. With this DC4. It's the Vienna game. That's right. And this is a known variation where white gets full compensation for the pawn. You were white? Okay. Yeah, and this is known to be very, very dangerous for black. Black has to be super careful playing this. So this all looks normal. White is given a pawn, but he has a strong center. He's got all his pieces out. Black still has to solve the problem of this piece. There's pressure on his king side, and he doesn't really have any presence in the center. This is a good knight. If d5 can ever be achieved, white can start to break down this diagonal. This queen is very active, so white has full compensation for the pawn. Rook d1, getting his last piece in the game, that's a good move. So white is gambiting a second pawn. But I think this would be hard to touch, because if you take this, I have a feeling bad things are going to happen to you. I'm not sure exactly how, but I just have a feeling. Here I wonder if there's something like d5. Or maybe just the simple rook d3. Rook d3 is a little simpler. And maybe better. Something like rook d3, knight here. And then like rook h3. And it looks like a storm is brewing over here. I'd be very scared to have the black pieces. Let's see, how's the under think? Thinks black's a little better. What's it think here? Yeah, it likes rook d3. Yeah, it looks like rook h3. Okay. And it says it's equal, but I don't know, if you're up 2 pawns and it says it's equal, that means you should be scared, in my opinion. c5. Probably fine. Yeah, he's lifting the rook now. b5. Wow. That's quite a move. Wow, what's going on here? Okay. Say I'm naive. I take the piece. How am I dying? Why am I dying? Is it this move? Here I don't think I can move the rook. But I also don't think this is enough for black, or for white, excuse me. So I don't think that's it. Queen h5, this is it. h6, I'm dying. Here I'm losing. Yeah, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt a lot. Good luck! Good luck living. +6. Maiden 6. Great. Doesn't surprise me. So g6 played. Bishop d3. Queen c7 seems reasonable. Engine doesn't like it, but I think it's actually reasonable. We want to develop all our pieces. You're supposed to be off. Why aren't you off? Oh, I can turn the whole evaluation off. That's what I wanted. Darn. He's giving the exchange. He's up 2 pawns. That's reasonable. Probably discretion is the better part of valor. Go takes, takes. And now you can take here if you so desire, I think. Although perhaps, oh, maybe not. That's a little unpleasant. Rook b1. And now takes, it's a little bit unclear here. It's a lot unclear here. But knight g6 played. Okay. We're just going to sacrifice everything on g6. There comes another piece. Bishop g7 forced. Queen g7 forced. And now queen e6 check, I assume. Yep. Queen f7. I find that unlikely to survive. Because now you're getting trapped on the file. I think a better try is probably rook f7. Black has a lot of material here. But white can quickly bring his other rook around. White also has, oh, white is this move. Huh. And what's happening here? Hard to say. I don't know, maybe white has to give the queen, because this looks very dangerous. Let's see. Rook g3, it's a good start. Queen e5 check. Probably also playable as a rook lift. My point is on takes. I'll go here, and that's unpleasant. So I think this is very annoying to deal with. Like, how are you going to stop me from checkmating you? That's not very clear. But queen e5 is probably good. Yeah, the queen's coming over. And the other rook comes, yeah. Brutal. With mate. So I think here you probably have to play rook f7 and give the queen. Let me see, does that work? What's the engine say? Oh, I turned it off. No, it says you can hold this. And it says this is going to lose. Okay. So here's what I know. Queen d5 is the losing move. Alright, let me find a non-losing move here. Suspicious. Is there some sort of like rook e8? Rook e8. Okay, that loses. Fine. Go away. Ah, ha 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 ha. I think I have this. And the point is, I gave away mate 1. Okay, I'm literally ridiculous. There's a mate threat there. Good to know. Good to know. Glad we established that one. That's good. Oh boy. Knight h5 is apparently the only move. Goodness me. Goodness me. Yeah, I think you have to go like rook g3. Maybe you can't. Who knows? I'm confused and tired. Maybe you take it. No, because then you get mated. So maybe you go queen g5 and then take it. And then you get mated there. Arrgh. Just as hard. You probably go queen g5. Nope, that's losing. I'm really good at losing, guys. Rook g3. Knight takes g3. Rook h8. It's true. But instead, we do something else. Couldn't tell you what that thing is, but we do something else. God, this fly is annoying me. We go queen g7. That seems unpleasant. Oh, knight g7. Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. All right, guys. I think I'm tired. I think I need to take a rest. I don't know. It's hitting me. I'm just getting really tired. Yeah, it's a cool idea. It's definitely a cool idea. The rooks are so dangerous. That's why the Vienna is so dangerous for black. White just gets a massive attack. Yeah, white can sack. But then it's too much material. Like this. I have 2 rooks and a piece for the queen. Here I can probably go like this or something. And I have 2 rooks and a piece for the queen, which should be enough. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, learned something. Watch me analyze. I was gonna do it anyway, so I thought I'd do it on stream. I'm getting a little tired here, so I'm gonna sign off. But I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all. I'll probably do a stream sometime this weekend. Not sure when. I'll post it on Twitter and on Slack, so see me there. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.